Did you know that some of the world's most wanted men were once the top cops in Mexico? From federal police officers to cartel leaders, this is a story oozing with ironies and aliases. But far more important, this is a story of men who walked the extra mile to achieve what they wanted: power and prestige. From the tales of Rafael Aguilar to the godfather of Mexican drug cartels, this video will grip you till the very end. Number 10. Rafael Aguilar Guajardo. From being Pablo Acosta Villarreal's right-hand man to having his vacation cut short forever, Aguilar's life is a textbook guide to lessons hard learned. Born in 1950 in Mexico, Aguilar initially pursued a career in law enforcement. As an agent for Dirección Federal de Seguridad in the 1970s, he was expected to uphold the law. However, Aguilar was as corrupt as they could come. Teaming up with notorious figures like Rafael Muñoz Talavera and Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo, Aguilar formed the infamous Juarez Cartel. Under Aguilar's ruthless leadership, the Juarez Cartel climbed the ladder of the drug trade through violence, killings, and bribes. They were power-hungry and did not hide it. Their rivals met gruesome fates, often decapitated and displayed publicly as a warning. Operating in the Golden Triangle region, the cartel smuggled cocaine through Chihuahua, Durango, and Sinaloa, with the main objective of reaching the United States. However, Aguilar's empire started to crumble when a massive drug bust took place in Los Angeles in 1989, seizing 21 tons of cocaine. In 1991, Rafael Muñoz was arrested, causing a chain reaction that led to Aguilar's downfall. Authorities issued a warrant for his arrest in 1993, prompting him to go on the run. Tragically, fate caught up with Aguilar during a family vacation in Cancun in April 1993 as he was ambushed and killed outside Gypsy's restaurant. The mastermind behind the raid, Amado Carrillo Fuentes, the Lord of the Skies. Number 9. Samuel Flores Borrego. If we didn't know any better, it would have been easier to assume that the first step to becoming a cartel leader is to enlist in the police. Flores Borrego, aka Metro 3, was the regional leader of the Gulf Cartel. Before that, he was a high-ranking lieutenant during the governorship of Thomas Yarrington. Unsurprisingly, Flores' time in the force coincided with the Gulf Cartel's peak era. However, Flores made a mistake that every cartel leader eventually commits: making enemies within one's own cartel group. The Mexican authorities attribute the split between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas to Flores Borrego. In early 2010, while operating in Reynosa, Flores Borrego gave the order to abduct and execute a Los Zetas leader, which led to Los Zetas demanding Flores Borrego's execution and threatening to wage war if the Gulf Cartel did not hand over the assassin. Flores disregarded their demands and signed his death sentence. On September 2, 2011, Flores Borrego was discovered deceased alongside a local police officer on the outskirts of Reynosa, who killed him. The Mexican authorities determined that his criminal group members had killed him. Number 8. El Grande. Sergio Enrique Villarreal Barragan, aka El Grande, is a former Mexican federal police officer. But that's not all. He is also a former cartel leader. Born on September 21, 1969 in Torreon, Villarreal began his criminal career as a car thief before joining the Coahuila Judicial Police Force in 1990 at 20. He later became a member of the federal police stationed in Nuevo Laredo. In 1996, he established a business relationship with the Juarez Cartel while stationed in Reynosa, Tamaulipas. From 2007 to 2010, Villarreal worked with the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas, before eventually joining the Beltran-Leyva cartel. Within the Beltran-Leyva cartel, Villarreal rose to lieutenant under Arturo Beltran-Leyva by 2007. However, in an unfortunate turn of events, on June 1, 2010, Villarreal Barragan was sanctioned by the United States Department of the Treasury under the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act for his involvement in drug trafficking. As bad luck followed, he was arrested by the Mexican Marines on September 12, 2010 during a raid in Puebla. Villarreal was extradited to the United States on May 23, 2012. As of 2023, he serves as a protected witness for the DEA to bring down someone more powerful and dangerous than him, Genaro Garcia Luna, the highest-ranking Mexican government official to be tried in the U.S. on drug trafficking charges. Number 7. Jose Antonio Acosta Hernandez, a former police officer with a feat of more than 1,500 killings under his belt, is as unbelievable as it gets. But one day, we all have to face the truth. Jose Antonio Acosta, aka El Diego, was the head of the Barrio Azteca gang of hitmen. He was the head of La Linea, the enforcement arm of the Juarez cartel. Before that, he was a police officer. Acosta's complete criminal activities only came to public knowledge in 2012. In September 2012, Acosta pleaded guilty to the killings of Leslie Enriquez, a U.S. consulate employee, her American husband, and another consular worker's spouse. But that was just the beginning. Hernandez admitted to his involvement in approximately 1,500 murders in and around Ciudad Juarez. As the gang's leader, he orchestrated a reign of terror as a hired killer for the Juarez cartel, controlling major drug smuggling routes into the U.S. He also pleaded guilty to 7 counts of murder. He confessed to ordering hundreds of other killings in Chihuahua, including a notorious 2010 massacre of 16 people at a party in Ciudad Juarez. He was extradited to the U.S. in 2011 after being captured in a raid by Mexico police. Aptly described by the head of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration as a ruthless murderer showing no regard for human life or the rule of law, Acosta currently serves 7 concurrent life terms, 3 additional consecutive life terms, and 20 years in U.S. federal prison. Number 6. Jorge Eduardo Costilla Sanchez. Jorge Eduardo Costilla Sanchez, aka El Cos, was the leader of the Gulf Cartel after the arrest of Gulf boss Osiel Cardenas Guillen in 2003. Before that, to no one's surprise now, Costilla Sanchez served as a police officer in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. El Cos held a prominent position within the Gulf Cartel. He oversaw the group's security, including the Zetas, its former armed wing. His fearless demeanor and notorious temper frequently put him in challenging situations. In 1999, he was involved in an incident where he and an armed group held several U.S. federal agents at gunpoint. While he released them, this event led to his initial indictment in the United States. By 2007, El Cos started communicating with the Zetas primarily through telephone rather than in-person meetings. In 2010, the Gulf Cartel assassinated a high-ranking Zetas member, triggering a retaliation demand from the Zetas. When El Cos refused to surrender the killer, the Zetas declared war. However, in September 2012, he was apprehended by Mexican Marines. He and fellow drug lord Edgar Valdez Villarreal, alias La Barbie, were extradited to the United States on September 30th, 2015. On September 26, 2017, El Cos pleaded guilty in a U.S. federal court to drug trafficking charges and 2 counts of assault. However, it was not until 2022 that he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Number 5. El Azul. Juan Jose Esparragoza Moreno is a name that resonates in the dangerous annals of cartel history. At a time when drug trafficking was a nascent industry, mainly under the control of rural bandits, Esparragoza Moreno emerged from the humble roots of Badiraguato in Sinaloa. He was initially a DFS police agency member when he founded the Guadalajara Cartel in the 1970s along with other drug lords in Mexico. El Azul built connections with Colombian cartels to establish crucial partnerships for cocaine delivery in the Sinaloa region. The Guadalajara cartel smuggled up to 14 tons of marijuana into the United States during their raid. In the mid-1980s, Moreno faced charges related to public health offenses and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. On June 7, 2014, reports of his passing due to a heart attack emerged. However, to date, the exact details surrounding his death remain uncertain, and he is listed as a fugitive. Number 4. El Puma. El Puma Uno's journey to becoming a cartel leader started as a respected police officer in Tamaulipas State Police. Born in Reynosa, Mexico, El Puma led the Homicide Investigatory Task Force before engaging in illicit partnership with the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas. Due to his active involvement in drug trafficking operations along the Reynosa corridor, he was dismissed from the police force in 1999, along with 9 other police chiefs. However, this did not halt his criminal pursuits. From January 2005 to January 2007, Carlos held the Gulf Cartel's second-in-command position. His responsibilities were as terrifying as his pursuit. He collected piso taxes from independent drug traffickers using the coveted corridor. But more than that, he did ruthless acts such as kidnapping, torture, and execution. El Puma's reign of power ended when he was arrested by an off-duty DEA agent in an H-E-B supermarket in McAllen, Texas. He was subsequently found guilty on all charges and received a life sentence. Number 3. Juan Carlos de la Cruz Reina. Juan Carlos, following in the footsteps of El Puma, led a double life with connections to the Gulf Cartel. During the 1990s, he served in the Tamaulipas State Police while working as a Gulf Cartel hitman. The Gulf Cartel recruited law enforcement agents to enhance their drug trafficking operations and carry out assassinations under the guidance of El Cos. After being dismissed from the police force, Juan joined 2 Gulf Cartel subgroups, the Sierras and the Tangos. However, his story takes an astonishing turn. On November 9, 1999, Juan Carlos engaged in a high-stakes confrontation with 2 U.S. agents in Matamoros. For these serious offenses, Juan Carlos faced potential imprisonment of up to 10 years, fines of up to $250,000, and 3 years of supervised release for each count. On August 28, 2007, acting on an anonymous tip, around 30 Army personnel orchestrated a meticulously planned operation to arrest Juan Carlos and 8 other suspected drug traffickers. The operation was a success. On October 19, 2021, U.S. federal agents deported De La Cruz Reina and handed him over to Mexican authorities. Number 2. Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo. For 18 years, Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo built a mighty empire in the world of drug trafficking, but a brutal murder changed everything. Felix Gallardo's early life was marked by poverty. Joining the police force exposed him to corruption, leading him to enter the narcotics trade to escape poverty. He partnered with Pedro Aviles Perez, engaging in marijuana and heroin trafficking, until Perez died in a shootout with the police. Felix Gallardo then took control, forming the Guadalajara Cartel and earning the nickname El Padrino, or the Godfather. He dominated Mexico's drug trade in the 1980s with associates Rafael Caro Quintero and Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo. Their operations, like the Rancho Buffalo plantation, were massive and immensely profitable. Corruption protected Felix Gallardo's cartel, but the murder of DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena Salazar shattered their safety net. Camarena's brutal killing led to Operation Leyenda, the DEA's largest investigation. While Gallardo was suspected of involvement, Caro Quintero ordered Camarera's death. Caro Quintero and Fonseca Carrillo were arrested, but Gallardo, shielded by political connections, evaded capture until 1989. In 1989, his empire, worth over $500 million, crumbled, and Felix Gallardo faced the consequences of his actions. Number 1. El Mencho. Alive to date, El Mencho is a name that terrorizes the world. He is the leader of the brutal Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, an organization responsible for various heinous crimes, including kidnappings, torture, murders, cannibalism, and the trafficking of fentanyl. El Mencho's cartel has around 5,000 members spread globally, except for Antarctica. Before taking charge of the CJNG, he was a small-time drug dealer who joined the Jalisco State Police Force in the early 1990s. He has also served time in a U.S. prison when he was young because he didn't snitch on his brother. He later joined the Milenio Cartel and married Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, the sister of a leader within the group. Valencia was arrested in May for acting as CJNG's chief accountant. The U.S. and Mexican authorities have offered a combined $6.5 million bounty for the capture of El Mencho. In 2002, the arrest of El Mencho's brother, Antonio Oseguera, triggered a heightened state of alert and a military siege by security forces in Jalisco, Colima, and Michoacan. Despite being the prime target for American and Mexican authorities, El Mencho still remains at large, evading capture. This crazy and respected man finishes our list this time as number 1. Hit like and subscribe for more intriguing content.